Farrell's commencement speech, he states, "And yes, I did graduate with a sports information degree. You heard me, a sports information degree. A degree so difficult, so arduous, that it was discontinued 8 years after I left. Those of us with sports information degrees are elite. We are the Navy SEALs of USC graduates. There are very few of us, and a high dropout rate." This is a quote that he uses, and he's humorous throughout his speech. He's able to make fun of himself and use irony in an effective manner to create relatable content and effectively get his message across. He is humorous yet genuine, and he uses humor to tell an inspiring story about all of his many failures on his path to success. He speaks of the importance of facing your fears and not letting your critics define you. So he's an intriguing and effective speaker who has a clear and persuasive message. When and where? So he gave a speech on May 12th, 2017 at the University of Southern California, which is where he graduated from. And there were 17,000 graduates, 60,000 people in total, including like parents, professors, family, friends. And then there are also 4.4 million views on YouTube. Background. So I'm just going to talk about his career background, which is what he talks about in his speech. So 1990, like I said, he graduated from USC with a sports information degree. He moved back home. He didn't get a job right after college. He moved back home for about 2 years because he decided that he actually wanted to pursue comedy instead of sports information. So he, as he says, he kept throwing darts at the dartboard and tried improv, stand-up comedy, theater, all sorts of different things. And one of those was the Groundlings, which is a school/comedy club that he joined, which a lot of famous actors have started there. And that's what led him to being hired for SNL. He was hired in 1995 for that season, and then he went on to do 7 seasons. And then once he left SNL, he said it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows, and it took years of shopping around Anchorman and years before he rewrote Elf. So these are some of his career successes. But he talks about his real success, which is, "Now one may look at me as having great success, which I have in the strictest sense of the word. But to me, my definition of success is my 16-and-a-half-year marriage to my beautiful and talented wife, Vivica. Success is my 3 amazing sons. Success to me is my involvement in the charity Cancer for College, which gives college scholarships to cancer survivors." So he uses anaphora here to emphasize success. And then I also have a second anaphora. "And yes, I was afraid. You're never not afraid. I am still afraid. I was afraid to write this speech." This emphasizes just how afraid he is, and he still does it anyways. And we have a metaphor. He uses this in the beginning of his speech to kind of give credit to the university for his success. So he says the seeds for this journey were planted right here on this campus. And then we have an analogy. "I was just trying to throw as many darts at the dartboard, hoping that one would eventually stick." He uses this throughout his speech to show that it's important to face your fears, because it gets you far. And then I'm going to talk about ethos, pathos, and logos. So for ethos, he says, "Today I have received an honorary doctorate degree." So this gives him credit, but he also compares his doctorate degree and other people with doctorate degrees and kind of downplays his accomplishments, which creates trust with the audience to kind of be down to earth and like, I'm one of you. He uses pathos. He says, "I would also like to apologize to all the parents sitting there saying, 'Will Ferrell, why Will Ferrell? I hate Will Ferrell. I hate him. He's gross.'" This, he identifies with the parents' emotions, which is relatable. And then he says, "It is incredibly surreal, one might even say unbelievable, that I get to deliver this address to you. As a freshman in the fall of 1986, if you were to come up to me and say that in the year 2017, you, Will Ferrell, will be delivering the commencement address for USC, I would have hugged you with tears in my eyes." This tugs at heartstrings of he's so grateful and proud of how far he's come. He doesn't use too much logos. This is the only one that I found. And by every statistical analysis, you are collectively considered the strongest class ever to graduate from this university. And we found a video.
Live had come to see the current show at the Groundlings. After 2 harrowing auditions, 2 meetings with executive producer Lorne Michaels, which all took place over the course of 6 weeks, I got the word. I was hired to the cast of Saturday Night Live for the 95-96 season. I couldn't believe it, and even though I went on to enjoy 7 seasons on the show, it was a rocky beginning for me. After my first show, one review referred to me as the most annoying newcomer of the new cast. Someone showed this to me, and I promptly put it up on the wall in my office, reminding myself that to some people, I will be annoying. Some people will not think I'm funny, and that's okay. One woman wrote to me and said she hated my portrayal of George W. Bush. It was mean-spirited, not funny, and besides, you have a fat face. I wrote her back. And I said, I appreciate your letter, and she was entitled to her opinion, but that my job as a comedian, especially on a show like Saturday Night Live, was to hold up a mirror to our political leaders and engage from time to time in satirical reflection. As for my fat face, you are 100% right. I'm trying to work on that. Please don't hesitate to write me again if you feel like I've lost some weight in my face. The venerable television critic for the Washington Post, Tom Shales, came up to me during my last season of the show. He told me congratulations on my time at the show, and then he apologized for things he had written about me in some of his early reviews of my work. I paused for a second before I spoke, and then I said, "How dare you, you son of a bitch?" I could tell this startled him, and then I told him I was kidding, and then I'd never read any of his reviews. It was true, I hadn't read his reviews. In fact, I didn't read any reviews because, once again, I was too busy throwing darts at the dartboard, all the while facing my fears. And then I told one woman wrote to me.
Okay, there we go. Significance. So his speech is significant. Then versus now, both for the same reasons. Everyone faces fears. Everybody has doubts. There are people in this world that don't know what they want to do with their life, and there always will be. And so it's important to just trust yourself, and that will get you to where you need to be. And then, why will it endure? At the end of his speech, he closes with, "I will always love you." He sings that to the graduates. That's an iconic moment, something that hasn't been done before. And then, as I said, it's relatable and timeless because there will never be a time when people don't relate to what he was talking about. Thank you for listening.